All right, we have speaker one, speaker two, table topics, and it looks like we have everyone else except for Michelle, who is our timer. Would someone like to be timer for tonight's meeting? Timer. Rachel, I know you're a speaker, but would you be willing to be timer for tonight's meeting?
Sorry, I was out.
Oh,
Um, I'm sorry, I was out for a second. Is there something wrong?
oh no, nothing. It's just we were wondering if we can find a timer for the meeting.
Um, I guess I can do it, maybe.
All right, sounds good. All right, that's great. So, with that said, I would like to get the meeting started. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and ready for another exciting meeting at the Future Leaders Gavel Club. My name is Caleb Van Brunt. It is an honor to be former president of the FLGC, and on behalf of President Claire, I would like to officially call this meeting to order. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all our guests. We sincerely hope you will learn and enjoy from this experience. The Future Leaders Gavel Club, as you all know, is a Toastmasters club open to middle school and high school students in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. And each meeting has three parts: the prepared speech section, of which today we have two speakers, table topic session, and lastly, the evaluation section. I will be the Toastmaster for you tonight, and without further ado, I would like to start by introducing our functionaries for tonight. Could we start with our all counter, who is Devin? Could you please tell us a little about your role?
Thank you, Toastmaster Caleb. As today's encounter, I will listen carefully and note any words or sounds used as crutches or pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. These may include inappropriate interjections such as and, while, but, so, as well as sounds like er. I will also note when a speaker repeats words or phrases such as I, or this means. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Caleb.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devin, for telling us about the role. Now we'll move on to our grammarian for tonight, who is Ethan. Take it away.
Uh, as the grammarian, I will be listening out for who uses the word of the day, which is acquiesce, to accept something reluctantly but without protest. I just have to trust that this word of the day hasn't been used before because I'm not going to go look through all of the past agendas and check that specifically. Throughout the meeting, I will also listen to everybody's word usage and write down any awkward use or misuse of the language, as well as times when your language is particularly compelling. Back to you, Toastmaster Caleb.
Thank you so much, Ethan. Now we will move on to our timer for tonight, who is Janya. Take it away.
Mhm. Thank you, Caleb. As the timer, I will monitor time of each speaker. Throughout the meeting, I will listen carefully to the program participant and signal them. I will use a green background at the minimum time required. I will use a yellow background at the middle of the expected time, and I will use a red background at the end of the allotted or agreed upon time. I will also record each participant's name and actual time used. Thank you, and back to you, Caleb.
Thank you so much, Janya. And with that said, I would like to begin our prepared speech section for tonight, starting with our first speaker, who is Rachel. Her title is actually untitled, but apparently a very important speech. That's actually her title. Her introduction is that out of all of the lessons that she has picked up over the years, there is one in particular that she finds extra important. I wonder what it is. Let's tune in. Please help me welcome Rachel.
Thank you, Toastmaster Caleb. Good evening, future leaders. Wow, I've been in this club since I was in 8th grade. That's a long time. I was one of the founders of this club, and soon I'll be 18 and I'm gonna go off to college. I've had a lot of memories here. And during the almost 18 years of my life, I've learned a lot of important things. But one of the most important things I have learned is how to appreciate myself for who I am. On the surface, I probably seem like a very normal person, but I find myself pretty eccentric. My interests are all over the place. I like doing crazy things to amuse myself, and sometimes I have trouble fitting in with other people my age because my interests tend to be really different. One fun fact about me that some of you might know about is that I have a rare ability to remember every day of my life since I was 11 years old in great detail. And this ability is called highly superior autobiographical memory, HSAM for short. And it's very rare, like I'm one out of about 60 people in this world that is known to have it. And as a result of this ability, memories are some of my favorite things. I'm memory obsessed. My ability makes me value people, memories, animals, my interests, and everything that I love in my life all the more. Some people think my memory is creepy and find my obsession with memories to be kinda odd, but most people think it's cool. I'm very obsessed with writing about every day in my life in detail, and I write it in these journals I refer to as my blessings books. And right now, I believe I am on the 11th or 12th one. I'm also a YouTuber with 2.5 channels. One of them is a channel I share. And most of my content is related to the show Little House on the Prairie that I love from the 1970s. I'm obsessed with this show. I've stuff from it in my room. That's not normal for a high schooler in the 21st century. And it's not the protagonist of the show that I'm obsessed with. It's the comedic villain. Plus, I'm obsessed with acting and music, and everyone knows that theater kids are interesting people. I'm the nicest person ever in real life, but when I'm on the stage, being mean is my favorite. There are so many crazy, odd, unexpected things about myself that I love, but a lot of these things I feel insecure about because I don't see myself as normal. I often lack self-confidence and I hold myself to high standards, but I always have to remind myself that I need to remain confident in myself and appreciate myself for who I am, despite all my shortcomings. After all, no one is perfect, and sometimes I forget that. And this is something I realized, especially during my high school years, that my quirks, they're not flaws, they're just simply what makes me unique. Sometimes I find it hard to connect with people because I feel like nobody really understands my interests, but I've learned that if someone doesn't appreciate your quirks, they're not worth your time or your headspace. If someone wants me to be normal, I'm not going to acquiesce to their request. I couldn't last a day being normal, and maybe it's okay. Since this is going to be one of my final speeches, if not my very last, before I move on from this club, I wanted to make it very special and leave you all with an important message. The first thing I want you all to remember is being yourself and practicing self-love is always very important, and you should always remember to take care of yourself. Don't ever try to change just for other people. The people that love you for who you are matter the most. What other people think of you should not determine your self-worth. I've fallen into that trap and I've learned that it's not right and it's very important to not let other people make you doubt yourself. And the last thing I wanted to say is the world is brutal and not everyone is going to like you or appreciate you when there's going to be a lot of questionable people out in the world. But do remember that it's the people that do appreciate you that matter the most. I've always wanted to make a difference for others, even if it's a small difference, and I want to teach other people how to get more self-confidence and love themselves more because of how much it's helped me, and I hope I've made a positive impact on this club. I know all of us will be successful in our future careers, and when you all go out into the world and start pursuing your passions, don't forget to always be your unique, crazy, weird self, and don't care about what other people are going to say because, again, they're not worth your time. So just practice self-love and just simply be yourself. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing that powerful speech about how we can just be ourselves and we don't have to worry about what other people might think or not think about us. We can just be ourselves and keep being ourselves. So thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing that powerful speech. And yes, you have definitely had a lasting impact on the FLGC. Now we will be moving on to our second speaker for tonight, who is William. William's speech is about independence and ambition, and he'll be tying some of his spring break travels as well in his speech titled 2 Steps to Every Sail Away. 2 Steps to Every Sail Away. Please help me welcome William.
Future leaders, raise your hands if you think that you have most of your life mapped out in front of you and you have a tangible way of impacting or influencing others around you. So I see some hands shooting up. That's very good. And it's great, Jefferson and Ethan, and both Ethans, that you guys have a pretty clear picture of what you want to do and how you will impact others with it. Well, I remember in one of my most impactful memories of my childhood that when I was just about 7 or 8 years old, I was already participating in my local community children's chorus, the Los Angeles Children's Chorus. And very not, I wasn't very confident about my singing ability. After all, I was just a very young child for the rest of the choir. And I decided to stay after the concert one time. And then I heard a sound that could only be described as being made by angels. The, the older kids who were set to graduate that year had formed a circle and they were singing a mesmerizing song titled Sail Away. And when it's your turn to sail away, don't you just want to? Future leaders, when I think of that memory, I'm always reminded that to every journey, there are 2 essential steps. Those 2 steps I wanted to share with all of you tonight and tie them into some of my spring break travels as well. Let's start out by mapping out what those 2 steps really are and what are some steps that you can take to work towards achieving these 2 essential steps. Number 1 is to always appreciate what you have. Now, it might sound interesting, this remark, to appreciate what you have, but I believe that everyone here is talented and intellectual in their own ways. The difference is our backgrounds and the interests that we choose to participate in. However, while we are all very different, we also share that same similarity. And that similarity is that we all are the products of the people who came before us. Future leaders, who was here last week and remembered 2 of the 3 important questions that I brought up? Does someone remember those three important questions? Okay, Caleb remembers. I'm sure some more people remember too. The three questions were, who am I? Number two, where am I from? Number three, where am I going? The step of appreciating what we have lies in the second step. Where am I from? When you answer this question, you could just say, oh, well, I'm from a nice suburb in Southern California, or oh, I'm from a little town in the Midwest. But think deeper. Where really are you from? In reality, every one of us is made up of a wonderful myriad collection of our interests, our hobbies, our upbringing, our ambitions, our drive, our vision for our own futures. That's who we are, and that's where we're from. Over spring break, I had the pleasure to go on a little bit of a sightseeing tour out in the Midwest. Who can tell me what this is? Does
The
anyone?
Missouri Arch.
Ethan, you're very much correct. It is, I guess you could call it the Missouri Arch. It's actually called the Gateway Arch, and it's in Missouri's largest city, St. Louis. Now, the story behind the arch is one of utter resilience. To get this wonderful arch shape, engineers and construction workers actually had to join these huge metal intersections and stack them on top of one another. There were no supports to holding these two legs in place. So basically, the gateway arch had to be built from the two legs all the way up to the top. Isn't that cool? Always ask the question, where are you from? For many, the gateway arch in its early years was a symbol of America's westward expansion. When Thomas Jefferson acquired the vast territory of Louisiana from France, many people didn't know that the West held such promise as it did today. But what was so essential to me in visiting the Gateway Arch was remembering that we are not merely the products of our own hard work and our own dedication, but we are also the products of those who came before us, those pioneers, those explorers, our families, our ancestors. What did they do, and how are we here today? That is an essential part of who we are and where we are from. So next time, future leaders, when you accomplish something big, some of you here, I know you guys are great speakers. Maybe one day I'll be voting for you as the President of the United States. But even when that vote comes true and you are elected as President of the United States, always ask yourself, where am I from? And who am I appreciative to? When you ask yourself this question, always think of the people at your round table. Just like King Arthur had his knights, you have your personal board of directors. Who are those mentors? Who are those friends? Who are those advisors that have helped you to become who you are? But I also mentioned that there was a second step. The first step is recognizing who you are and where you're from. But the second step is that third question, that crucial third question. Where am I going? I know a lot of us are still in that youthful spring of our lives. And for a lot of us, we might not exactly know what we want to do. But that doesn't mean that we just acquiesce entirely to fate. On that same trip to St. Louis, I had the pleasure of driving up to Chicago as well. For those of you who attended last week's workshop, you'll know that I'm incredibly honored to be part of Northwestern's incoming class of 2029. And while this picture looks beautiful, I will just tell you that the day I went up to Chicago, it did not look like this at all. There were no people sailing in the lake. There were no birds flying in the sky. The trees were all bare, and it was 36 degrees out. Very cold, bitterly cold. But did I acquiesce to the environment around me? You might think no. The answer is yes, actually. But that's something we all have to get used to. Sometimes life doesn't go as expected. Even in the peak of your success and in the peak of your determination, not everything's going to go your way. So the second step is to be open to change and be willing to find how you can impact the new community that you move on to. I've been a member of this club for quite a few years as well, similarly to Rachel. So now, as I'm about to graduate, I'm looking back. What have I done for this club and how have I impacted the people in it? But at the same time, I need to look forward. When I go on to college and even beyond college, how am I going to positively influence other people around me? And that's being open to change. Because even though the temperatures were bitterly cold and the trees were all bare and not even a single little bird was chirping the rites of spring, I saw many things that made me happy there. For example, I snuck into a dorm and I discovered that in the dorm, in the lounge where many of the students were resting, there were thousands upon thousands of little plastic ducks spread all throughout the lounge. And I thought, it's such a shame to let those poor little ducklings suffer in the Chicago late winter. So I forced 5 of them to migrate back to SoCal with me, and 2 of them sit on top of this computer right now as I'm speaking. I also saw on campus a bicycle rack reserved for one of the chemistry department's professors who was a Nobel laureate. And that made me happy too. The little things. They don't need to be huge achievements, and they don't need to be monumental discoveries. They can be the little things in life that help you to see the silver lining. I will tell you, future leaders, that when you move on to college, when you move on to the next chapter of your life, rarely will it be exactly what you expect. But when you can accept that you are in this new environment and you can find all of those little things that make you happy and make you want to involve in that community and to better that community, that's when you've truly sailed away. So, future leaders, in conclusion, always remember the central 3 questions and the 2 steps. Who am I? Where am I from? Where am I going? And the 2 steps, appreciating the past and being open to change in the future. With those principles, you will be able to overcome most challenges that are thrown at you, and you'll be able to realize for the first time who you truly are and what you will do to impact and influence others around you. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Caleb.
Well, thank you so much, William, for sharing your insights into what we can do to sail away. And I think your speech is definitely just at the right time when both of you are going to be shortly sailing away, Rachel and William. But you are always welcome to join us and hop onto a Zoom call. I know it's going to be kind of late for William, but Rachel and William, you're definitely welcome to hop on in and listen and maybe even give a speech. But thank you, both of you, for sharing those very valuable insights with our members, and I'm sure we all greatly appreciate it, and we truly wish you the best of success and good winds sailing forward into the rest of life. All right, with that said, I would like to go on to our next section of our meeting, which is the table topics session, and today our table topics master is Devin. Devin, please take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Caleb. And today, our table topic theme is about integrity, which I know everyone in this meeting has, even if sometimes we've lied or played tricks. Let's begin. For our first question, which is for Rachel, would you rather be known for honesty or for kindness? Take it away, Rachel.
Would I rather be known for honesty or for kindness? I would rather be known for honesty because sometimes when people seem kind, their underlying intentions are not kind because they are lying. You don't want to be known for kindness if you are simply lying. I find honesty very important, and if I'm dishonest, well, the result is a guilt complex, and I don't want to get myself mired in a guilt complex. I think honesty is very important, and while while some people think honesty isn't always the best policy, it is because lying can get you into a lot of trouble, especially when you go out into college and into work. You don't want to be found lying at college or in the workplace. You could get expelled or you could get fired. It is always important to maintain academic honesty and honesty in the workplace. And sometimes your mannerisms might not seem kind to other people, but maybe they're misinterpreting your behavior, and maybe you're just trying to be focused on your work and you're not trying to be unkind. Plus, you're not telling white lies that have an undertone that is not so kind. So, in other words, I would rather be known for my honesty. Thank you, and back to you.
Great point answering this question, Rachel, and I would definitely agree with you. For our next question, which is for Ethan, your best friend cheated on a quiz and asked you not to tell. What do you do?
I think the dilemma here is supposed to be the fact that this hypothetical person here is my best friend. They're my best friend, which I they are my best friends, so that is obviously going to introduce some bias into me. But the thing is, I feel like my dislike of cheating would probably trump my bias towards them as my best friend because I because I am their best in this scenario, I would be their best friend, of course. And as their best friend, I would want them to grow and improve as a person. So I would probably still snitch on them for cheating on this exam because if they cheat on this exam and they think they can get away with it, they will try this somewhere where the consequences are much more stringent and they will screw their life over. And I feel that it is my responsibility as their best friend to stop this from happening. Back to you, Devin.
Thank you, Ethan, for that answer. I would agree with your answer. But for me, I actually don't really know what to do with my best friends in this situation. As if you tell, you might lose the friendship. If you didn't tell, you lost your friends and your integrity, which is hard to choose. For our third question of the day, which is for our guest, Selena, would you lie to get out of doing chores? Be honest. Selena, take it away.
Can you repeat the question real quick?
Of course. Sorry, maybe I read it too slow or something. Your best friend cheated on a quiz and asked you not to tell. What do you do? Oh, sorry, my bad. That's the wrong one. My bad. Would you lie to get out of doing chores? Be honest. Sorry.
I feel like this is the wrong thing, but I would like to get out of doing chores. Except it would be depending on which chore it was. If it was a small chore, like cleaning the dishes or doing something like that, I would decide online, but making it small. I would also remember to do it, maybe just delaying it to where I could do it afterwards, the time that I was told to do it. If it was a bigger chore, like an errand, I would not lie. Because I believe that dishonesty could result in bad things happening. And if it was a big errand and I didn't know what consequences it could get me into, I might not want to lie just in case that something bad happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena, for that amazing answer. And I love how you answered the question. So keep up with this good work. For our next question, which is for our guest, Howard, can someone accidentally have integrity? Why and why not?
For me, first of all, it depends on the definition of integrity. Integrity, I would say, is doing the right thing when you're not supposed, when no one's watching. So if someone accidentally has integrity, that would mean that person doesn't know that he can do wrong things when no one is watching. For me, I feel like that would be extremely uncommon because someone would have to be very naive, very uneducated to not be able to do the wrong thing. That may seem a bit counterintuitive, as someone can't possibly not do the wrong thing. But for me, I feel like if someone doesn't know that doing the wrong thing is a choice, yes, integrity could be a accidental trait.
Thank you, Howard, for that great point. And I've already seen your integrity inside you right now. For our fifth question, which is for our guest, Ethan, if our superheroes' only power was honesty, would they survive? Ethan, take it away.
So actually, I'm speechless.
It's okay.
Okay, so yes, I think they would survive. Wait, no, I don't think they would survive because superheroes must have superpowers to counter the supervillains other superpowers. And wait, sheesh. Okay, so let me restart. So superheroes must have superpowers to counter the supervillains superpowers too, and also wait and super wait what?
No pressure. Just say what you want to say.
Okay. Okay. And then as you see, and wait. Wait, okay, so and in lots of superhero movies, there's usually a sequence of fighting between the 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 main character and the antagonist. And without the superpowers, the superhero would not likely survive. Okay.
Great job, though. I would definitely agree with you because I love your point and how you explain it. And next time, no pressure though. For our next question, which is for our guest Henry, is this still integrity if you take credit for a group project you mostly didn't do? Henry, take it away. Are you available, Henry? If not,
Sorry, what?
let me repeat the question. Is it still integrity if you take credit for a group project you almost didn't do? Henry, take it away.
Wait, can you say the question again?
Sure. Is it still integrity if you take credit for a group project you almost didn't do? Henry, take it away.
Stop doing the dishes. I can't hear the Zoom meeting. I'm sorry about that.
Do you need me to send it to the chat?
Sure, that would be nice.
No problem.
It's fine. No, I do not think it counts as integrity because if you if you didn't, I think it doesn't count as integrity because if everyone else did the work, that means to make it fair, you should have almost no credit because you did almost no work. Which means if you take credit for the entire project, it's unfair and dishonest, meaning it is not integrity if you take credit for a group project that you didn't work on.
Yeah, first of all, that is an awesome answer for this question. But for me personally, I would try my best to do it in the first place though, because that's easier. For our seventh question, which is for our guest Andrew, would you admit it if you broke something in a store? Andrew, take it away.
Good question. So, would I admit that I broke something in the store? Well, I think it's really whether I can afford the thing. Because pretend if I break like something like very cheap, and then I obviously can pay for it. But pretend I drop like this really expensive glassware or something, and then I can't fix it. I'm just gonna quietly leave the scene. But that would also mean that I wasn't honest and I didn't have integrity because that means I didn't own up to my mistakes and instead left the situation, which isn't the best way. That's the reason if I can't afford the thing and it doesn't cost like a fortune, then I will own up to my mistake.
I love your answer and how you explain it. I would definitely agree with you, so keep up with this amazing work. For our last question, which is for Michelle. I don't know if Michelle is here. Oh, she is. Can you pause integrity during April Fool's Day? Why or why not?
Yes, you can. No objections shall be heard. If you guys object, I will find you and I will reach through the screen and grab you. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Also, don't mind me turning off my camera. I just came back from swim practice. But why do I think that you can pause integrity just on April duels? Oopsies. My English isn't Englishing. April Fools. Is that an objection I hear in the chat? No matter. But the reason why I think you can actually just pause integrity during April Fools is because it's literally in the name. It's April Fools. obviously people are gonna be pulling pranks on you. People are gonna be slapping you or like. I mean, someone's entering my room, guys. But basically, April Fool's is literally just for you to have time to prank people and like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just reading the chat and then talking at the same time, and it's like trying to not laugh. But David, can you move out the way? Can you like move out the way, David? For you fatties, stop taking up so much space. Lay off the burgers. Oh my gosh, my microphone was on. Oopsies. Bro, no.
Please, please.
Bro.
Wants to see.
No, he doesn't.
Deserves.
Okay. But basically, April Fool's is literally for you to prank people. Like, you can just, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a friendly way to explain a prank that doesn't have someone being hurt in it. But basically, it's a prank.
Trip.
A prank. Dude, I'm gonna trip you off the bed once you try and sleep, you rat. But basically, but that's all. Yep. All right. Thanks. No.
Problem. I mean, and I definitely agree with you. I will pause it because who knows? April Fools. And that being said, these are all the table topics questions we've got today. Thank you all for participating. And now back to you, Toastmaster Caleb.
Wow, thank you so much, Devin, for leading us in a deep and humorous table topic session. Tonight, you did a great job on, is this your first time as Table Topics Master? I think it might be. But you did an awesome job and everyone really enjoyed your questions and we had a lot of fun answering your questions about integrity. Now it's time for our general evaluation portion of the meeting. And to get started, we will have our speech evaluator 1, Janya, give an evaluation on Rachel's speech. Janya, take it away.
Thank you, Caleb. Okay. So Rachel had a great speech on being yourself, and it's okay to be unique, because right now even I mean, it's a new place for me right now, coming to Canada. It's been tough for me too. So I'm sure that many of us can relate to of being unique and new to a place. And it was a very inspirational speech for me. So my evaluation today will be divided into 3 portions. First, the ones you have excelled at, and then the ones you might want to work on, and at the last, it's you should something that you should challenge yourself on. First, what you excelled at. Your vocal variety was great. It was very engaging. The speech was very clear to understand. And you had great vocabulary. The speech really engaged the audience in all the ways. And it also made everyone feel how it feels to be unique. And coming to what you may want to work on. You may want to work on your gestures. Maybe your facial expressions were great, but maybe just move your hands and to show more gestures and like to make it more clear. And maybe you could challenge yourself on maybe standing up for the speech. Thank you, and back to you, Caleb.
Thank you so much, Janya, for sharing that helpful advice to Rachel and to all of us so that we can further improve our next speeches and Rachel can further improve her next speeches as well, because Rachel, even though she may not be here in the FLGC every week, we'll still have other opportunities in adult Toastmasters clubs to give speeches. So her journey is not done, and it is just beginning. Now I will go on to our next evaluator, who is our second evaluator, Kara. Take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Caleb. So, William, congratulations on an engaging and very well-delivered speech. For this evaluation, I'm going to first talk about the many things that you did well, and then at the end, I'll just offer one suggestion for you to improve. First of all, I think that one of your greatest strengths as a speaker is how comfortable you are with the audience. And I can see that you're having fun when you deliver your speech. For example, like smiling and laughing a bit during the rubber duck story. And the energy is very infectious, so just keep that up. And your speech was also very engaging. I noticed that you added in virtual backgrounds for some parts, and you also interacted with the audience, which were very good additions that just make the audience pay attention a bit more and keep it interesting, even though it already is. Also, I really liked your opening because you began by immersing us in a personal experience at the choir and also connecting this to your speech title and the message of your speech. And you also laid out the format of your speech at the beginning, which was very helpful for following along the rest of the speech. Your ending was also very strong by connecting back to your title, Sail Away, and summarizing everything in a good way for the audience to take away your message. And also adding on what the impact of taking those 2 steps you mentioned would have on our lives. And now I'm going to critique a bit, and I'm going to feel like a bit of a hypocrite critiquing your structure, just a few details in it, but since you wanted me to focus on it, I'm going to acquiesce and critique it a little. So, you added a lot of details in your speech, and I can definitely relate to trying to put as much into my speeches as possible. And I think that's fine, but you just want to try to lessen the load on your listeners by simplifying it whenever possible. So what I mean by that is, for example, at the beginning of one of your steps, you could state the main points very loudly and clearly. For example, the phrase, be open to change. And then if you're going to tell a little anecdote, you could tell it, and then at the end, you could repeat the phrase again. And also, know that you can write your speech with structure, but then delivering it with structure is also a whole other set of things that you can do. So I did see you do this, but you could change your vocal variety and your body language even more when you're trying to emphasize the most important parts, and this would just make it even more clear. But overall, it was a very well-delivered speech. It was a lot of fun to listen to and very engaging, and if you just organize the structure a little bit more clearly, then I think that it would be one of the best speeches that I have ever heard. Thank you.
Well done, Kara, on your evaluation of William's speech, and I think I really enjoyed how you specifically mentioned and evaluated what William wanted you to evaluate. That's very good of you. Now we will be moving on to the next functionary report, which is going to be our on-counter for tonight, which is also Devin. Devin, take it away.
Thank you, General Evaluator Caleb. So starting off, for our Toastmaster today, Caleb, I didn't notice any awkward interjections or repeated words, so great job. For speaker 1, Rachel, I didn't notice any awkward interjections or repeated words, and wow, amazing job, and I love your speech. For speaker 2, William, I also didn't notice any awkward interjections, but I heard to and to the, but overall great job. For table topics master and speaker, as I am the table topics master, I didn't pay that much attention to everyone's awkward interjections and repeated words, and I didn't have time to note it down. So I'm really sorry for everyone that I didn't catch on. And for general evaluator, which is Caleb, again, I didn't notice any awkward interjections or repeated words. Amazing job. For speech evaluator 1, Janya, I heard one and two pause. I didn't hear any other repeated words. So overall, good job. And I'm sure everyone learned something from your evaluation. Lastly, for speech evaluator 2, Kara, I noticed a few awkward interjections like and or so, but I didn't notice any repeated words. I think everyone learned some skills from your evaluation. Great job. And that being said, I know this is a short evaluation and I'll counter job. I'm sorry. Thank you, and back to you, general evaluator Caleb.
Thank you, Devin, for your report, and no need to apologize because on every time it's always different. Someone will always use more crutch words or less crutch words, so there's never really a set time for how long your report should be. So well done, Devin, and thank you for sharing your report. We will move on to the next functionary, which is Ethan. Ethan, whenever you are ready, please share your report.
I have some great news, everybody. Most of you guys didn't have any awkward grammar at all, as far as at least I didn't hear any, I didn't catch any throughout the course of the meeting, as far as I could tell, while I was trying to balance listening to the people talk, trying to balance that with eating my dinner. Except for one that may or may not have been intentional from Janya that I still wanted to know, even though it may make me sound like a nitpicker, is when Janya commended Rachel's speech on being yourself and okay to be unique. I believe grammar prescribes that you insert how it's between and okay, so and how it's okay to be unique. But that's the only thing I have on my spreadsheet. Great job, everybody. I also heard speaker 2 William use the word of the day twice. And also Kara, speech evaluator 2, used the word of the day once. They come in a pair, I guess. It's like the great minds think alike adage that people keep saying these days. In fact, those are the only 3 times I could catch the word. I could clearly catch the word of the day today. Now, speaker 1 Rachel, I have 3 instances of good phrasing. She described herself as pretty eccentric, and how I think she said her favorite character from what was it, Little House on the Prairie, or whatever it's called, is the comedic villain. And she said on the stage being mean is my favorite, which I thought was kind of humorous. And speaker 2 William, who described the singing of, I think it was like the senior students, as only described as being made by angels, which was quite the inventive way to describe the human voice. I think haven't they just hasn't human singing been described like that in the Bible or something like? Oh no, I haven't studied the Bible that thoroughly, so I probably invented that myself. And also, how he told us to think of the people at your round table. Classical allusions there. I'm studying AP Lit, so I might make sure to study more examples of classical allusions. I see William used one here in his speech, referencing the tale of King Arthur. Table topic speaker 1, Rachel, who suggested don't get mired in a guilt complex. I didn't record myself because, as we all know, trying to record yourself talking while also trying to evaluate your grammar usually results in what can only be described as a crash and burn scenario. Table topic speaker 3, Selena, I didn't catch anything. Table topic speaker 4, Howard, I caught one instance of good phrasing. It would have to be very naive and uneducated. Table topic speaker 5, the other Ethan, not to be confused with myself. Sequence of fighting, which I thought was a nice way to phrase things. I did not catch anything for table topic speaker 6 or 7, Henry and Andrew. Table topic speaker 8, Michelle, she was saying no objections shall be heard. That was pretty fun. I've already meant speech evaluator 1, so speech evaluator 2, Kara, I caught one, I get one word of the day, and she said William's energy was very infectious, and also suggested him to lessen the load on your listeners. Those are the 2 instances of good phrasing. And although Guest Jefferson with his 10 different kinds of stars in his Zoom name, man, some of these are Unicode characters I didn't even know existed. But anyways, many stars. Jefferson, our guest here today, even though he did not have a role, he did request that he see the rubber duck that William mentioned in his speech, quote, at the end of class, which, I mean, so it appears that Jefferson has interpreted this FLGC meeting as a lesson of sorts, which I actually appreciate because it means that he is probably taking this meeting quite seriously, even though he is not involved in any official roles. And that means he will definitely have a lot to learn from this place, which means that he is an active improvement seeker. And for that, I must commend him. Back to you, Caleb, because I don't have any more yapping to do.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for sharing your report. And I mean, I will have to acquiesce. I should have practiced the word of the day before I said it in front of all of you. That we didn't have that many crutch words, or that many bad usage of grammar. So well done, congrats to everyone, and thank you, Ethan, for highlighting the areas where we did have a good use of grammar. And William did show us the ducks that are like so tiny. I thought it was gonna be like one of those rubber ducks you have in like the bath. They're like tiny. They're like pencil erasers. So thanks for sharing that. And I can see how you were able to like, grab one secretly without anyone noticing. All right. Now we will move on to our final report of today, which is our timer report. First off, we will have Janya. And maybe, William, you can show the rubber ducks again. There you
go. Okay. Thank you, Caleb. So starting with the speeches, Rachel had 5 minutes, 45 seconds, which is in the range. Sorry. William had 6 minutes and 25 seconds. I think I messed up a little with William's timing because my timer had stopped in between for no reason. I'm so sorry about that. And coming to the table topics, I had about Rachel had 1 minute 40 seconds. Ethan had 1 minute 11 seconds. Selena had 52 seconds. Howard had 1 minute exactly. Ethan, the guest, had about 4 minutes, which is like overtime, but there were a few pauses, so I think it was totally fine. Just relax for the next time. It's not that it's just like relax and then say whatever comes into your mind. Henry had 44 seconds. Andrew had 50 seconds, and Michelle had 2 minutes, 3 seconds. Well, coming to the evaluation portion, myself, I had 55 seconds, which is very low. Well, evaluation still scares me, but yeah. Akara had 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Accounter Davin had 1 minute 47 seconds. Ethan had 4 minutes, just overtime, but it was really helpful. Thank you, and back to you, Caleb.
Thank you so much, Janya, for your report. And with that said, I'm just gonna give a quick general evaluation. Table Topics Master Devin, awesome questions. They were very deep and made us deeply reflect on integrity. And as I mentioned, they were also humorous and made us laugh. One suggestion I have is when someone has a hard time answering a question or doesn't know exactly what to say, you can simply prompt them about something they just said. So for example, you could say something like, can you expand on that? Or could you say something like, who is your favorite superhero? That way, that would be an easier question and it can just help keep the conversation going. But you handled it very well. So well done, Devin, and well done, Ethan. That was great for one of your first table topics ever. Now we move on to our first evaluator, who is Janya. I loved how you used the sandwich method. You said what Rachel excelled at, what she could do to improve, and what she could do to challenge yourself. One thing I would challenge you to do is stand up when you give an evaluation. Just like when you give a speech, you stand up when you give an evaluation. It's almost like a mini speech. So standing up can even boost your evaluation just a little more. But well done. Now we'll go to Kara. Kara, well done highlighting the key points of William's speech, and as well as standing up. I noticed that you stood up, and as you stood up, I noticed that you had a Mary Poppins shirt on, and I have great memories of playing cello in the pit orchestra for Mary Poppins. So thanks for bringing back those great memories. Now for Devin, well done on your report and doing dual roles, because it takes lots of concentration to do that. Ethan, I appreciated the positivity and detail in your report. And lastly, Janya, well done again, dual role for timer and evaluator. With that said, that is all for my part. So I will just go on and say the final comments for tonight's meeting. So congratulations everyone who participated in tonight's meeting. Thank you to our guests who answered table topics questions. All you guys did a wonderful job. And before we officially adjourn this meeting, I do have a quick announcement regarding our upcoming workshop. Hold on, let me get that to load real quick and share my screen. So as I mentioned a few weeks ago, the Hollywood director Jude Wang will be visiting our club and will be delivering a workshop titled Lights, Camera, Lead on May 14th of this year. So definitely save the date, and she's going to be speaking to us about how to speak with authenticity and passion, exploring the concept of leading from the middle, and understanding one of her mentor's favorite sayings, how to hear everyone but listen to yourself. And she's going to share lots of anecdotes from her own personal work fields about how these tips can impact all of us in our leadership lives. So please save the date for that exciting workshop. And then remember that on June 11th, we're going to be having Mayor Corey Kaleke give a workshop at the FLGC titled Lead Like a Mayor. So definitely invite all your friends to both of these workshops. They're going to be an incredible time of learning leadership skills and public speaking skills. And with that said, I would like to call this meeting to a close. Does anyone have any final questions or comments before we end this meeting? All right, if not, then at 7:07 p.m. Pacific time, I would like to adjourn this meeting, or 7:07，我要结束这个会议，因为我们一开始就说中文，那我们最后会说中文。I think just about everyone here can speak Chinese, but actually Janya doesn't speak Chinese, but speaks Hindi and a bunch of other Indian languages. So that's pretty cool that we are all very bilingual. But with that, I will leave all of you. Thank you so much for coming to the meeting tonight. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. And we will see everyone next week. Thank you and have a great rest of your week. Bye, everyone.
再见，
再见，
下周见，
下周见。
See ya, everyone.
下
Bye
周
bye.
见，
拜拜。
见。
200年后见。
200年，我的妈呀！
太长了。Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great week.